I want to talk about something that's a little bit layered, a little bit complex, and it might be new to you. That is how your mindset, your stories, your perspective shape much more of your life than your actual actions do. Because here's the truth, and this comes from personal experience as well as experience working with hundreds of clients over 10 plus years. You can't do the right things with the wrong attitude and expect things to change. Change only happens when your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all become best friends and align. And look, I see it all the time. I'll come across health and fitness clients who really, they've done all the research. They've read every book. They know in their head that change is possible, that they can lose these 20 pounds, that they can get in shape, that they can feel better, that they can get rid of this pain in their body, that they can fit in these clothes. They understand that. Yet deep down, their feelings of lack of self-esteem, lack of belief in themselves, lack of confidence, those underlying feelings and stories will never allow them to move forward, even if they're taking the right actions. And again, I've seen this time and time again. What happens is they understand I can do this and I'm going to take these actions, but the minute something doesn't go as they want, right? The minute they can't predict the outcome, there's uncertainty. And this uncertainty combined with that lack of belief and that lack of confidence completely shoots their ability to stay consistent. So they may be training and dieting for 1, 2, 3 weeks, not see a lot of progress, or maybe see progress, but it's not as much as they want. It's not as much as they feel they should have had. They feel they should have earned more. And that becomes the drain. That becomes where all their energy goes. That becomes where all their focus goes on what it's not giving them, how it should be more, how it's not enough. And that energy, that emotional driver is what will sabotage any sort of actions going forward. And look, 95, 96% of people that diet and try to lose weight are going to fail. That's a real number. And my theory is this has more to do with that than not having the right plan, not having the right coach, not having the right diet, not having the right insert any biohack out there, right? And so when you think you can do it and you feel in your heart, you know that you can, and you then take actions from that inspired place, it's impossible to fail. And so I want to give you a non-fitness example, a personal example of mine. Years ago, I started working with a coach, and he encouraged me to start meditating. And so what I would do is I would lie down, I would meditate, and I would imagine my ideal life. And so one scenario I had created in my head was of me driving down the Pacific Coast Highway. I would be driving like on a Tuesday afternoon. I'd be in a convertible. My wife would be sitting next to me. I would hear the waves. I would feel the sunshine on my face. I could smell and taste the salt in the air. I made it as real as possible. And I would do that literally every single day. My wife would go to work and I'd go and I'd meditate, and I wouldn't get up from that meditation until I actually felt what it felt like to have that experience. So I would get up and I would feel inspired. I would feel like what an amazing experience, right? And so I would then go on with my day and take actions from that place. And so I didn't have all the answers. In fact, my life at the time made this image, if I just looked at it on paper, seem impossible. My wife was working 10-hour days at the dental office in town. I was driving all around the Chicagoland area, working with clients in home. And so on paper, this didn't make sense. This did not seem how this was going to be reality. Mind you, this wasn't just some vacation I was thinking up in my head. This was my day-to-day life. This was time freedom. This was location freedom. That's what I was really, creating. And so here's the key. Many people, they go into meditation, they think about this ideal life, they think about these things, and then they get up and they dwell on why it's not possible. This is where people go wrong. And again, going back to fitness, you can know and understand, conceptually, like this is possible, but then you go and take the actions, and because you can't connect all the dots, you don't have belief. You have to be willing to suspend your belief. You just have to choose it. You just have to know it's possible and then trust that whatever is going to happen between now and then is for that thing to happen. So you have to trust that everything is happening for you. Everything's an opportunity to get you from where you're at to where you envision yourself being. And that is what is so difficult for people. And so weeks went by and we had the idea to start renovating our house. And so we started making upgrades. We started doing things, to make the environment better for us. And somewhere along the way, it just hit me. And that was, we're not renovating this house for us. It feels like we're getting ready to sell it for somebody else to enjoy. And so we finished the house. And at this time, my coaching had switched completely from in-person to online. And at this time, my income had basically doubled almost overnight. And my wife decided she was going to quit her job. And then we decided we don't have to be here anymore. We could be anywhere. So what would be the first thing you do? Well, maybe we'd want to sell the house. So we weren't attached to it. So we put a sign in the yard. And the next day, somebody came and knocked on the door and we had a verbal agreement. They went to the bank that Monday. Pretty sure they came over on a Friday. They went to the bank Monday and we basically had an agreement to sell the house. And so I could not have known that a pandemic was going to come through and my coaching was going to be forced online. There's no foreseeing that. I didn't know that because of that, my coaching was going to literally explode. Couldn't have predicted that either. And then, of course, renovating the house, I didn't know at the time it was going to be renovating to sell it. So anyway, we sold the house. A couple months after that, it finalized. And then 30 days later, we were driving down the Pacific Coast Highway. And we had bought a new car, Jeep Wrangler. We had the roof back. It was midweek, the sun hitting the face, the salt in the air, my wife next to me, our dogs in the back seat. And we'd live in one spot for a week or two, then we'd go to the next spot. And we had location freedom, we had time freedom, literally everything and more from my meditations and my thoughts, just literally not even a year earlier. And so look, I just want to reiterate, we are all doing this all of the time. What I'm saying is not special, okay? We are all having thoughts, having feelings, and taking actions from those thoughts and feelings. And that is what is providing us the life we have. Whether we love it or not, we are creating it. We are co-creating it with everyone and everything around us. And so you have to ask yourself, if you're taking the right actions, if you're thinking the right thoughts, but nothing's changing, then what are you really feeling? What story or belief, what are your actions really coming from? Again, you might think it's possible, but do you really believe it's possible? Are you looking for things to support this life that you want, this health that you want, this fitness that you want? Or are you caught up in stories as to why it's not realistic? Are you too caught up in your current situation to allow yourself to think bigger than that, to think beyond that? So my hope for you is that you can take some time today, and I want you to write out your ideal life, or pick, even just over the next few months, an ideal scenario. Get specific, just like I did with driving up the Pacific Coast Highway in California. Pick something in your life that inspires you, that you are genuinely excited about. And I want you to get really clear on what that looks like, what that feels like, what it sounds like, what it smells like, what it tastes like. Make it as real as possible, okay? And I want you to sit with that every single day, all right? Sit with it every day, whether it's, again, better fitness, better health, better job, better life, whatever it is. Sit with it every day. Close your eyes and walk yourself through the scenario. And here's the thing. You cannot get up until you're a different person than you were when you lied down to start. This is the key. If you're going to take the time to live this experience ahead of it actually happening, then you have to make sure that when you get up, you are that person. And here's where I'll challenge you further. When you get up, you can't worry about how it's going to happen. You can't worry about when it's going to happen. You just have to know that it is happening. And then you have to detach from all the little details. The universe, God, whatever you believe, that's where they'll come into your life. And it'll become very obvious, just like with me. Okay? Just like the example I laid out in front of you. I had no idea those things. I just stayed open and I just kept the belief, which kept me connected to that vision, which then made it possible for it to show up. Okay. So your only job is to know what you want and don't get in your own way as the world conspires in your favor to make it possible. If you have questions, if you have comments, reach out. If this resonates, I want to hear from you. If you think it's bullshit, I want to hear from you. Okay. But try it and let me know how it goes.